Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I'm coming to you today with my team preparation video for my Week 5 matchup against the Chicago Sacred Fire. I am, of course, the coach of the Nevada Noiverns, coach in the Orange League. I'll be sure to leave a link in the description going over all of the details for the Orange League. Chicago Sacred Fire is coached by none other than Stab, and I will also provide YouTube information for him in the description for this video. Taking a peek at his team, he is rocking Victini, Florges, Kiram, Porygon 2, Rotom Mo, Seismitoad, Megalopony, Skarmory, Scyther, Kabutops, and Ludicolo. His team is pretty wild because he's got two ridiculous wall breakers in Victini and Kiram. He's got a really good wall core in Skarmory and Florges. And then he's got a lot of Pokemon that can come in and clean up once everything has been sufficiently weakened. Megalopony can outspeed everything on the face of the planet, especially anything on my team. Come in and hit with perfect coverage. And he's also got Scyther, which is a pretty fast Pokemon, can set up a Swords Dance, can go for Technician boosted, Bug Bite, and Aerial Ace. It also has access to Quick Attack. Lopunny also gets Quick Attack, so that's worth noting. He also has 3 Swift Swim Pokemon, which is something that I'm really scared of. I'm thinking that he's going to bring that because he knows that I have Sand, and that's going to be a pretty good counter to what I can provide with that playstyle. So he's got a really scary team, like I said. So we've done the best we can to make a pretty interesting team that's going to be able to combat whatever he decides to bring. And before we hop into it, I'll just go ahead and point out our bench players this week. We actually did quite a bit of rotation this week. We have Stoutland, aka Buddy, on our bench, Leonardo the Blastoise, Garth the Jirachi, Waymoe, Hippowdon, and James the Weezing all warming up the bench for us this week. We'll try and get them back in there next week. So without further ado, we hop into this video. Oh, forgot a nickname here. I noticed in my video last week I forgot to nickname my Blastoise, which made me pretty sad. So make sure we get it all this week. So, to start things off, we've got Mystique the Mew, rocking Rock Polish, no pun intended, sorry about that. Rock Polish, Psyshock, Thunderbolt, and Knockoff. So mixed Mew with Rock Polish. So looking at this guy's team, looking at Stab's team, the thing that jumped out to me immediately is that his Psychic resists were Victini and Skarmory. And nothing else really wanted to take any type of Psychic move. And so yeah, I've got a lot of Psychic types on my team. This is like the first time that I've thought since I've taken over this team that having a lot of Psychic types would be to my advantage. So I was trying to think of a good way to take advantage of that. And it dawned to me that this would be a really good way to do that. We've got enough speed investment to outspeed Kiram Kiram if it's a modest max speed, and once we get to +2, it's going to outspeed Kabutops in the rain. We then put 252 into special attack, nothing into attack, put 144 EVs into HP just to improve the bulk. I don't really want to be taking a lot of damage with this Mew, and in fact, I might end up switching it to a modest set and put some of that HP investment into speed, but I haven't quite made up my mind yet. If we do that, what's that gonna look like? We're doing this live, fellas. Whoops. We want to get to 290. So that leaves 40 HP. That's not that bad. We're gonna go with this. Because yeah, I'm not going to have this Mew in taking hits, I don't think. The only thing that I could potentially try and bring this in on is Lopunny, but Lopunny is going to do a lot of damage with 2 returns to me. I can kill it with Psyshock, but it's going to leave me with like 1 more hit after Life Orb. So it's not really going to be all that great. What I'd rather do with Mystique is bring it in on something that's kind of non-threatening, maybe like Florges, or I don't think Porygon necessarily I want to bring it in on, because I can get he can Thunder Wave me, and that's gonna ruin my whole plan. Come in, set up a Rock Polish in the late game, and try and get off a sweep. I think actually Skarmory would be a good Pokemon to set up on here. As you can see, in addition to the Psyshock, a Thunderbolt is there, and that is going to be there for the Skarmory. It's definitely going to 2-hit KO, assuming it's Fizz Def. Could be Spadef, but I think with Life Orb and now a Modest Nature, or sorry, Rash Nature, we're going to be able to put a nice dent into that thing. I'm also packing Knockoff to take care of Victini. I don't really want to bring this in on Victini if I can help it, but if I find myself in a situation where I'm up against Victini, I don't want to be completely SOL. Luckily, I don't need any investment on Knockoff for the attack stat for Knockoff. Life Orb with Knockoff is going to KO a -1 defense Victini after Stealth Rock. So if it goes for a V-Create, gets all the drops, we will be able to take it out if he decides to stay in with it. If not, Knockoff's a great move. It's going to do a good bit of damage to whatever comes in. He doesn't actually really have a Dark Resist besides Florges either, so Knockoff's just a good move in general. And nothing really appreciates getting his item knocked off, especially in a league format where there's so much counter-teaming going on. They could be packing those damage-reducing berries to counter-specific Pokemon, or maybe something's rocking Choice Scarf to outspeed a certain Pokemon, or going something with like Expert Belt to bluff Choice Scarf Cephs or something like that. But anyway, this is going to be our Mystique. I'm really hoping that I can clean up in the late game with this. I'm going to be really careful with it leading up to that. Try not to lose this, because this is going to end up being a pretty important win condition for me. Next up is Wayne. Choice Scarf, Togekiss, rocking Air Slash, Aura Sphere, Flamethrower, and Grass Knot. He doesn't really have a ton of great flying resists. He has Skarmory and Kabutops to resist flying. So Choice Scarf, Air Slash is going to be really great, I think. Aura Sphere is mainly there for Porygon 2. It's not quite a 2-hit KO, but maybe I can catch it on the switch, and I have Stealth Rocks up, and I can 2-hit KO it that way. Flamethrower is for the Skarmory, and Grass Knot's going to be things like Kabutops and Seismitoad that are going to take 4 times super effective damage from it. The speed investment in this guy, 204, this is going to hit 406 speed when you apply the Choice Scarf, so it's going to outspeed a Jolly Mega Lopunny. The rest is going into special attack, and whatever's left over is going into HP. This is also going to be a good set to potentially clean up in the late game. This isn't really a wall-breaking set, but we had our Iron Head Jirachi last week putting in quite a bit of work with all the flinches and stuff, almost pulling out a really ridiculous win against the Ryan Plumber. But so we're going to kind of swap roles this week and have Togekiss try and be the flinch master. I think this is a pretty good set. And just between having the Choice Scarf on Wayne and the Rock Polish on Mystique, this is going to be how we take on the faster opponents this week, the faster Pokemon, since we are not really rocking all that much speed on this team. Next up is Sonic, rocking the Assault Vest with Seed Flare, Giga Drain, Hidden Power Fire, and Earth Power. So have enough speed investment in this again to outspeed Kyurem if it's modest, max speed, putting 252 EVs into special attack, the rest into HP, and the 4 left over into special defense. This is going to be the counter to most of my opponent's water types. Seed Flare obviously does amazing damage to things like Seismitoad and Kabutops. If I'm in on them, I'm not really going to be clicking that though. I'm probably going to be clicking Giga Drain. Because here's the thing, so Seismitoad and Ludicolo both get good coverage against Shaman. Sludge Wave is a move that Seismitoad can carry, and Ice Beam is pretty commonly found on Ludicolo. So they can go for those moves, and normally they would KO me, but with the Assault Vest, I'm going to be able to take one of those hits. I don't think I can take two, but I can take one. It'll probably do like 55% or so. So I can come in, and I can come in with a Giga Drain. If it's something like the Seismitoad, I'll be getting all of that HP back, all that damage that I take. So that's kind of my plan here. Hidden Power Fire is just for Skarmory, in case that comes in handy. Earth Power, I have that just in case I'm trying to predict a Victini switch in, because Victini might be a good swap for a Seed Flare. You know, they can come in and try and tank that hit and set up for a big V create. So that's what the Sonic's here to do this week. Mostly check the water types. And yeah, next up, got the Easy Bake Oven, Rotom Heat, rockin' Volt Switch, Overheat, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split. I suppose the moves are relatively straightforward. I was contemplating a couple of extra moves on this. I was thinking about Dark Pulse to try and hit Victini super effectively. And I was also thinking about Hidden Power Grass for Seismitoad. Hidden Power Grass would be nice if I'm predicting his switch-in to Seismitoad, coming off of a Victini hit, something like that. But just decided I'd rather have the Will-O-Wisp. Maybe I'll change that between now and the time of my battle, but that's what we're going with for now. And I mean, Overheat doesn't do terrible damage to defensive Seismitoad. It does like 25%. So, while that's not fantastic, it's not awful either. You know, I can go for a Pain Split if I'm thinking that Seismitoad's going to come in, and that'll be my quote-unquote prediction. And for Victini, it was like barely a 2-hit KO after defense, or after a special defense drop, so it wasn't like it was doing a ton of extra damage. Volt Switch is going to be doing 105. Which is, you know, after applying stab, 70 times 1.5. So Dark Pulse would be better, but Volt Switch isn't going to be terrible. But we did put 212 EVs into defense here with the Bold Nature. This is the Victini check. I am really scared of Victini. I really need to make sure I preserve this Rotom. But luckily, whether or not he decides to bring a physical, Choice Band, Victini, or he brings a special Victini, something like that, this Rotom's going to be able to counter it pretty well. Don't have any special defense investment, but I can still take a Blue Flare pretty well. I can take Thunder pretty well. I can take Psychic. I can take Focus Blast. I can take all those things. So that's basically what we're going to be counting on from Rotom Heat. It's also going to serve as a pretty good counter to Scyther if he chooses to bring that. Scyther has been putting in good work for Stab this season, it seems. Getting a couple of, I think he ended up sweeping in one of his games, getting like 4 kills or something like that. And Rotom's also going to be a good switch in for Skarmory. You know, I doubt he's going to be leaving in Skarm on Rotom, but it gives me an opportunity to get off a Will-O-Wisp on something, or perhaps a Pain Split. So I think that's going to be a good Pokemon against Stab's team. Next up, we have Jaws the Mawile. We're bringing an offensive Mawile with Sword Stance, Iron Head, Play Rough, and Sucker Punch. So, as I mentioned, the only real Dark Resist on Stab's team is Florges. And you can see Mawile doesn't really care about Florges. It can just go for an Iron Head and really punish that. It can set up all over it. It really doesn't care. So the combination of Iron Head, Play Rough, and Sucker Punch is going to be really sick against his team. You know, you can go for Play Rough against things like even like a defensive Seismitoad takes like 80% from minimum from a Play Rough. So that's pretty nice. And we do have enough speed investment to outspeed things like zero investment Seismitoad and 0 investment Florges. Not really so worried about the Florges, but you know, Seismitoad can go for something like Earthquake or Earth Power and do some good damage to Mawile. So we're going to try and get the upper hand on that. If it turns out that the Seismitoad's offensive, then we can go for Sucker Punch and do like 60 or 70%. Sucker Punch is going to punish Victini. It's going to do a lot of damage to, pretty much everything on the team. And I should point out too, obviously Mega Lopunny is a Dark Resist, but it's not exactly the most bulky Pokemon. It's not bad, but it's not great. If it's taking some damage, Sucker Punch can probably do like 40% or so. And I'm not gonna bring this in if Lopunny's still bopping around full health. This is going to be another late game situation. The best priority he's got on his team is Quick Attack from Lopunny and Scyther, and Mawile doesn't care about either of those things. Actually, Mawile would be a good Pokemon to bring in on Scyther. I was really thinking about bringing Intimidate instead of Sheer Force, just to make it easier to set up on Pokemon like Scyther, but the extra power from Sheer Force plus the ability to negate the Life Orb damage is just too good. I just could not do that this week. So, didn't bring Mawile last week, but I am bringing it this week, and I think it's got a good shot to put a dent into my opponent's team. Then last but not least, we're going to be bringing Professor X, the Uxie, with Stealth Rock, Knockoff, Toxic, Memento. We're bringing a kind of a mixed wall Uxie to this game. The special defense investment is enough to live 2 Choice Specs Draco Meteors from Kyurem after Leftovers Recovery. Assuming it's timid. If it's modest, I think 2 max rolls will end up killing me, but we still have a chance to live. I'm not saying that this is necessarily my Kyurem counter, because it doesn't really have a good offensive move to take it on. But it can kind of counter it if it sets up Stealth Rocks. Knockoff is going to be useful for taking away Choice Specs or Expert Belt or Choice Scarf, whatever it decides to bring. Knockoff is also going to be really important for Porygon too. I should have mentioned that on Mystique, that getting Knockoff off of the Porygon is going to be really useful, because then things like Wayne can do a lot more damage to it with Aura Sphere, or even just flinch it to death with Air Slash. Toxic is there to also cripple the Porygon too, really limit its wall capabilities. And we're bringing Memento, which I think can be a lot of fun. It's going to give a really good opportunity to either Mystique or Jaws to come in and set up their respective moves. Because there are some opportunities for Mystique and Jaws to set up on Pokemon just on their own, especially Jaws. It can come in on Florges or Scyther. Mystique can probably come in on Florges. It can come in on other things, but Memento is what I'm really looking forward to using and then getting a setup opportunity. So that's the team this week. Got my fingers crossed that this can do some work, maybe catch Stab a little bit off guard. I'm not bringing some of my more powerful Pokemon, or what you would think are my more powerful Pokemon. Blastoise stands out as a really fearsome wall breaker, and I was really thinking about bringing it just to deal with things like Porygon and stuff like that. Not bringing Hippowdon and Stoutland for the sand. Not bringing Jirachi for the flinch and other support. But I have faith. I think that this is gonna end up being a pretty good team, and I like our chances. So that's our team building video. I want to say thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to tune back tomorrow for the battle video, and wish us luck. Alright, thanks everybody. Catch you guys next time. Later.